Hello, this is Michael here with another episode of Nintendo Nightly, your Monday through Friday source for everything Nintendo. And today I want to talk about Pokemon Day 2018. So every year on February 27th, the Pokemon Company has a bunch of things roll out to celebrate another successful year of Pokemon. This year, the news isn't particularly interesting. There's some Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green inspired outfits available on Pokemon Go, as well as a Pikachu wearing a purple party hat. Also, there is a Pikachu voice modification, I guess, for your Google Home or Alexa if you have one of those weird boxes that listens to you all the time, and various other sales of new figures and toys. You can watch the Pokemon movie for a limited time for free on the Pokemon TV app. But that's about it. There's no new Pokemon on Switch footage that we're getting today or anything crazy like that. So rather than cover those relatively insignificant bits of news, I want to talk about just 22 years of Pokemon and what that means to me personally. I'm not writing this, I'm not scripting this, so just going off the dome here, just sharing my experience, and I'd love to know yours as well. Let's chat in the comments, write into me at thebentoblock.com/Nintendo Nightly. I'd love to share some of your thoughts and experiences with Pokemon over the years and see how they kind of line up, because I think I was the target demographic of the original US debut of Pokemon, with it coming out 2 years later after it had come out in Japan. So this was 1998. I was about 7 years old and just ripe for the taking for a franchise like this. You know, I loved stuff in the 90s as every other 90s kid did. I got into the Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball Z, the Toonami time slot of 4Kids was my jam, and Pokemon, from the cards to the anime to the first movie to the second movie, all of that stuff was right in my age range for just the most ripe and opportune time to get me hooked on the series. And I originally got Blue. My brother got Red, and my sister got another copy of Blue. I remember most vividly going through the Viridian Forest and just grinding it out there, trying to evolve my Metapod into a Butterfree and finding a Pikachu along the way that was absolutely no help with the first gym. And having many more return trips to all the different regions. I played all the mainline series Pokemon games, played a lot of the side series. I remember just the moment of seeing my beloved Blastoise in the majesty of fully rendered 3D on the N64, and the tension of battling Mewtwo with that crazy music that it was playing. He flew towards the screen, and those were really, really fond memories. I remember seeing the very first Pokemon movie and getting the limited edition cards that I probably still have somewhere today. I have so many memories of battling and trading and bringing my Game Boy and Link cable to school through elementary and middle school, and really just enjoying the series. And though it didn't seem like the franchise had as much staying power as I got older for those around me, I've still always been following it, you know, even to this day, playing Pokemon Go. And I even got into some of the more obscure titles. I put a lot of time into Pokemon Conquest because it was the half-baked version of Pokemon Tactics that I've always wanted and still want. And I actually recently played through the entirety of Ultra Sun and didn't find it to be particularly compelling, but it did have some really redeeming qualities toward the end of the game. As we are looking toward the future, the Pokemon game that is going to be coming to Switch, I have high hopes for it. I don't know if they're going to hit what we want them to hit, it being a open world Pokemon game where you don't have to leave the field and go into a different instance for battle, but a Pokemon game where I can just roam around and see a Charizard or a Pidgey somewhere and go chase after them and catch them without there being the transition from the top screen into the battle screen and having that be a different sort of thing. I think that would really eliminate a lot of the problems that I still have with Pokemon, how random battles aren't typically satisfying. They're mostly annoying, and then sometimes they're a surprise when it's a Pokemon that you actually care about. But I still think it would be much more compelling to just see them and search for them through the map, whether you're climbing mountains, whether you're knocking into trees, diving underwater. I think there is a lot of potential for a really fantastic and amazing Pokemon game on Switch. So I hope that series makes that leap and that transformation. I think it's time to break ties with the normal formula, and I look forward to seeing how the project turns out. So that has been my experience with the Pokemon franchise. I'd love to know what you think and what your personal experience is, especially if you're a little older or younger than I am, just to see how, like, if you got in at Generation 3, if that was your first experience with Pokemon, what's your opinion on the first generation? Do I feel like those first two games are the best because I have fond childhood memories of them and I'm a little biased, or were those the ones that stand up to the test of time? I'd also love to know how you engage with these games. Are you the single player adventure type and then you put it down, or do you get into the online trading? Do you get into the competitive scene? I had a small stint with that before I just ran out of time to hatch eggs and EV and IV trade, and all the complexity that's with that mess. And yeah, I'd just love to know if you still find yourself in that scene, or if you ever got into it to begin with. So that has been Nintendo Nightly. This is a different kind of show where it's more about, my feelings and my experience with something than any sort of news or impressions. And we'll be back to the normal kind of show tomorrow, but just thought of this as a nice opportunity to share with you my experience and history with the Pokemon franchise, and maybe just an opportunity to chat and talk about things. I like to be analytical and critical, and to really get down to the meat and the bones of why something is good or not good. But it's also nice for every once in a while to just take off that hat and be a fan. So let's do that today. You can reach out to me in the comments or write to thebentoblock.com/Nintendo Nightly. Love to hear what you think. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next Nintendo Nightly. If you like these sort of videos, a daily dose of Nintendo news, impressions, and reviews, then I would recommend that you subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. And feel free to share this among your friends or on social media. More exposure definitely helps the channel grow. I would like to make this a bigger and better thing. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.